Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Trainman, and welcome back to whatever this game is. This is the Salt Generator. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. This is coming out on Thanksgiving. No delay of video because of holidays. Of course not. I don't get a day off. Of course I get a day off. I am posting this from home. This is being produced on November the 23rd, which is a Monday, along with Locomotion was produced today, and yesterday we made Terraria and the other two videos that I make, Factorio and Trained Fever. Anyway, with that all copacetic, with that all understood, I am just going to go through and fix up this area here. Jader is going to be in charge of the other side of the river, so I am all set with this area of the map. Well, by the end of this episode I will, but you guys will see what I'm talking about. And we're using the plateau tool on this, which I know it's a fairly foreign concept to me, but I generally, during this construction, ignore all of the little differences in terrain height and terrain jaggedness that comes from using it and not using it well. So, my basic goal was just to get this to be more or less a slope, as opposed to a flat cliff, which it was, a couple minutes ago when you looked at it. So, there's that. I kind of go back and forth between where I want the edge to be, and of course I end up pushing into the river a little bit more than I would have liked, but I wouldn't necessarily call this a rush job, but it's just the kind of thing where I realize that it's not hugely important what the edge of this river looks like. This isn't a set piece necessarily. Hell, it's still probably looking better than the gorge right now. We'll go over the gorge in a little bit. You guys will see what I'm doing over there. It's no different than what I've been doing. More plateau tool, more coloration. Probably need a little bit more color over there as well. Just trying to get an area done so that I can have for certain shot. Like, I'll be able to put the camera someplace and not see anything that isn't built, which is surprisingly difficult. We texture the river up here, and do we do the other side? I think we do the other side. That's a handoff to Jada right there. This river is the dividing line between forests and farms. So, Jada, anything on the left side of this river, or what would that be, the north side of that river, you can do as farms. However, there probably should be some forest more, down towards where it curves. Where's it going? Whatever. The other bank of this river right now, it's kind of an interesting thing. I think below the waterfall should be forest, and then above the waterfall, so to speak, should be farms. And I don't know, take that as you will, but I'm sure you won't be particularly stupid. But just saying everything on the other side of this river should be farms is not correct. It's not. I don't mean to be that absolute with what I'm saying. Something, only a Sith deals in absolutes. That didn't make any sense anyways. So, being very careful with the road here, we need some sort of ground cover under the road, and I know I haven't done grass around here yet, but that's one of the things I've got to get to, and it's one of the things I will get to. But this area is done asterisk for now. If I want to come back here and do the fiddly bits, I can, but I've done enough of it that I can say, okay, Jader, take a whack at this. I'm not sure when I'm going to do that, though. I've got to work on integrating Douglas, and that's probably one of the first things we'll do after Thanksgiving. It's up to Kevon. I guess you have until that Thursday, or maybe a week after that, depending. I don't want to, stress myself making the episode, and I do want to have that in. And episode now, I mean the Iron Horseman Chronicles. There is only one scene in Douglas, but I'd rather not have the route be edited in between. We do need to make those signals, though. Or actually, no. Everything... I'll rebuild the signals as scenes require, because frankly it isn't that difficult to throw a few signals down. A little while ago I did make a minimum on the length of recording segments for this, and I think I might have mentioned this on a previous episode, but when I record a segment for the time-lapse, it's got to be at least 20 minutes real-time, so you have a segment that's at least, I don't know. Looks like the other one there is about 2.5 minutes, so that would be about right. Is that 800% speed, 1/4, 20 minutes? No, that wouldn't be 1/4. That'd be 1/8. Yeah, that'd be an eighth of 20 minutes is 2.5 minutes. I don't know why it took me that long to figure out simple math like that. All right. Anyways, we come over here. There's a lot of segments that I've been hesitant to work on because there are just these massive things where I don't know what I'm going to put there. I know between Wyvern and Albany are going to be mostly farms as well. That area is more or less featureless. It's not flat, it's a hill, but it is more or less featureless, and that's why we can throw some farms down over there on the side of the route. But anyways, this is me working on the gorge. You guys know what this looks like. That blue smudge there, where I assume I was writing river, is getting in the way because because I'm not able to see the grid lines, and I don't have a grid texture, I don't think. I'm sure I have one somewhere, but I've scrolled through again and again looking for it, and I have not found a grid texture yet. So we're just sort of saying balls to it and painting over it, and it more or less worked. Alright, so now I'm boxing off some areas for ground construction. And this is one area where I felt okay with planing it just as is. And it worked out alright. These curves in the route, we've done the same thing with them a multitude of times, and it seems to work out more or less. And I had to adjust that road a little bit because the ground that had to be under the road and the ground that had to be under the track were intersecting, and I really wasn't going to do anything fancy there, so I just moved the road a little bit and everything worked out. Alright, so I take care of this. We're doing this one segment at a time, and that's not too foreign for us to do. So, the game was autosaving, as we know. The savior of things, autosaving. Alright, so, and then we have this last section here, and this is the last thing we do for this segment of the video, and then we'll move on to something a little bit more interesting for a little bit. You'll see when I get there. It was something that I was referring to previously. So over here, we're over by Milford. This area is undeveloped thus far, and I said there should be some sort of rise in the middle of a triangular section here, and I'd throw a iron ore mine or something there, and so that's exactly what I did. I decided to build a line out here, just in order to fill in some space. I don't intend for anyone to ever go down it. And it's going to run to a mine, and again, because I figure it's going to be more or less out of commission, I think I'll cover it with grass when I come here and do the whatever. When I come here and do the fiddly bits, and, all of the scenery, because this area is devoid of scenery thus far. And so, stretch that out, and then I put the mine, so we have a runaround, I put the mine track there, and from here I built a switch that is going to be just our storage track, and it's not particularly long either, it's just to there. It's a fairly simple operation. It's sort of reminiscent of it's sort of reminiscent of grizzly lumber, except it's not lumber at all. I asked Wybold, hey, what's a good mine? I was going to throw in a coal tipple instead, and that would have been interesting. But I went for this. And the problem with this is that it's a narrow gauge mine, and the track is standard gauge, so you have to use either really small cars or just not use it, and the latter is what we're going for here. I also spent far too long trying to build this bridge to make sense, and I guess it's going to attach to a mountain over there, and adjusting the height on it. Nope, that was too low, too low, too low, and too high, and autosave. Right in the middle of what I was trying to work on, too. Sometimes the height tool would be kind of disagreeable, and that was just right, so... Oh, yep, maybe. Alright, there we go. That's all set. I think that's going to be how it remains. I wish I could get the mill to stop smoking, because it shouldn't be operating. Alright, that's all set. And then I test this with a couple of... I don't know why I'm scrolling through that. I test this with a couple of cars and realize that, hey, everything clips into the wall, and that's when I went, oh, wait a minute. I guess we're just not going to use this, are we? Just replace the switch stands real quick, and this area is more or less fine. It's not particularly detailed, as you guys know, but that really isn't my goal here. It was just a fill-in. It was filler. And speaking of filler, we had to patch up some of the areas here that did not have adequate coloration. Now this area was done a while ago. I haven't touched this side of the canyon in a little bit, but it just occurred to me just then that I hadn't done the actual terrain painting on this bit. So, taking care of that. Didn't take me too long, and bringing along the riverbed texture, which honestly I don't like too much, but I might go back in and replace that later if it so suits my fancy. Alright, so doing the layers as we do, this is all fairly straightforward now. There's not too much left on this map that we're allowed to get creative with, at least not until we go over to the upper area that I haven't worked on, the northern area, the old main. Because that's all me, and I haven't even really planned most of that yet. I just know there's going to be a cog railway there, which I talked about last episode. So then the goal for me now is just to take care of the big monotonous pieces, 90% of those being ground. There's still some trackside splines like the grass and things that I need to get done. A lot of these areas don't have telephone poles yet. And of course, the route to the summit on the west side needs to be redone. But I'm going to save that for last because it's a perfectly usable piece of track for now. And I'm not going to meddle with that one. I've got other stuff that's not usable that I need to finish. And also, the summit line has not been featured anyways, and I don't think I'm going to feature it in an episode, at least not at large, because it needs replacing, and I don't intend to keep it forever, and I don't want there to be that kind of discontinuity. I don't want the set changing out from under the engines. Not without explanation, at least, and I could probably write a competent explanation for what the hell happened, but, in fact, I'm already coming up with one, but that's not something I want to bother with. I realize that we're making things awfully close over there, probably because of the discrepancy between, just between the slopes and just the side that one side of that triangle is significantly longer than the other one. So, that's a problem. Also, taking care of this was interesting because it's kind of something I forgot about, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Just decided to go into the terrain tracks and take care of it. It didn't turn out great, but again, it's one of those backfield things. If it was a little bit closer to the track, I think I'd mind more. I accidentally deleted that last one, I deleted it on purpose, realized I shouldn't have because I needed it as sort of scaffolding, and I needed to figure out where I was putting these things. And we're running out of area here, and we're also running out of video. But we're running out of area here for one side to catch up to the other one, and I sort of gave up on that one. But I left that there as scaffolding wisely this time, and I've been doing one at a time, and which was screwing with things. But I'll finish the rest of it next week. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you after Thanksgiving. Trainman out.